question to Manu. I know you have a very women-heavy restaurant, and you're very proactive towards supporting female chefs. So perhaps you could tell us about your positive approach to how you support those women in your restaurant.
Well, we have a lot of women. I don't know why, but it just happened. And our chef on the garden. So we actually provide, we are really together, you know, like my newest employers has 4 years in the restaurant. So almost them is almost like built the restaurant with me. And so I think I'm good as an owner, as a chef, because they still working with me. And we try to be as help. And then this year we changed the hours of the restaurant. That was really important. So we open at 7 and close at 9:30. And that's really difficult in Brazil because people start dining in Brazil at 8 o'clock, at 9 o'clock. So it was a new challenge for us, but we are really happy and trying to change. And bringing the kids to the garden. We open all our work outside, like the gardens and the bee gardens and everything. For this woman, when they go garden, they can bring the kids. The kids can, be in touch with the food since they are. So that's some things that we are trying to do for these ladies.
Anyone else want to ask a question of our chefs? I'm going to ask Dan a question, if I can. Yes. On stage earlier, as more people gathering, Eric Brunet asked the French chefs about the importance of gardens. You have quite a big garden in the form of a farm at Stonehart. All three of you are very connected with your gardens. How important is it for you to be on farms? What does that bring?
So I have a table, yes, in the middle of the farm, and also Blue Hill is a dairy farm that's about 100 miles from the restaurant. So we are surrounded by a lot of amazing agriculture, and it drives our menu. So the importance of the farming for us is that we create our menus around the ecological necessities of the farm. And what that means is to not have a menu. So we do not have a menu. You come into Blue Hill, and you sit for the meal, and there's this kind of interview that happens with the captain. Why are you there? Is it a date? Is it a business meeting? Is it a first time? Is it a 50th time? And from there, the notes come into the kitchen, and from there we create a menu. But every table gets a different menu. And that is not because I want to drive myself crazy. It is because I have only a little bit of lots of different things. We also do probably 80% of the farming is in experimental seeds, experimental breeds, and the amount of failure or success on the farm is huge. Some weeks it's enormous of one variety, and a lot of weeks there's enough for a table or two. We have whole animals, so we have parts of the animals for certain tables, and this is how we create our menus. So the diversity on the farm drives the diversity of the menu and drives that each table has a very, very different experience at the restaurant. So I find that both very challenging and increasingly very rewarding as I get older.
It's amazing because in Mirasur we work exactly in this way after now 13 years because the garden and the small producers. We not 100% of our production for the restaurant, so we need until now to go and to work with small producers, and we want to keep these people because these people is generation in Europe of farmers, and it's the only way to work with the nature and with the seasons and with the varieties. We have a small garden in Mirasur, so it's now 1.5 hectares, and we just bought 3 more hectares. But in a small garden, when you work with a small garden, you have 10 portions of green peas, 5 portions of fava beans, 5 carrots. So you need to make the menu with that, and it's probably 60% of the menu is different in each table. So I think it's the only way to really to work between this short time who the product is on the top, because the product you have a curva, una curva, curve, who is just for a few hours in the top of this curve. So to have the chance to work with this product is the most important for us, and to believe in the biodiversity and in the all cultures and the ecological way of culture is something who I need now. Is not the approach, it's really something who the industry need to work.
See, I would just say my question now to you here, Will, would be, us three chefs have had amazing success, and we've been promoted by 50 Best more than we probably deserve. But one of the reasons that I think we are able and have the confidence to use the diversity that we were just talking about, all of us in your talk as well, is that we have a kind of confidence coming from this success, in part because of 50 Best, in part because of a lot of other channels. What I see is younger generations who do not have the spotlight on them quite yet, are very programmed into their dishes, because in the Instagram age you have to be. You cannot change a garnish because you are judged in part by what your plates look like. And I'm wondering, does 50 Best talk about, do you think about this for your organization? Do you, in part, you're helping drive it, which I don't mean that as a harsh critique, as a nod to reality, you're driving it. You're also, as I said, freeing chefs like us to express ourselves when we get the kind of following, and people really do put their evening and their dinner in our hands. So we have an incredible freedom, but most chefs don't. And what I hear from chefs and what I see from chefs is a lack of confidence to break out of that, to use the ingredients just at their perfect moment and change, because the dish will not look perfect for the Instagram moment. So I'm wondering what you guys talk about this and how to deal with it in the future.
Tough question for me. I think 50 Best obviously started and still remains a list of elite restaurants. We can't get away from that. It's the world's 50 best restaurants. However, what we've tried to do, and with events such as this today, is widen the discussion. So it's not just about one of the best restaurants in the world. We use that profile that's given us, and the opportunity to have access to great chefs and people that are changing the food landscape, such as you guys. And we're trying to provide a platform for those discussions. We hope that we're giving the opportunity for wider discussion, and of course, in the Instagram age, we are also putting plates on our social media feeds, and we can't get away from that. It's the way of the world now. But we hope that we're doing more than that, more than just feeding that sort of Instagram beast, if you like, in terms of plates, by having discussion that goes with it.
So part of what you're doing here today is to broaden the discussion away from.
Absolutely, and we want, there was quite a lot of discussion today about diversity, and we want to promote diversity and inclusivity of all sorts. Diversity by its very nature means that there are lots of different ways of doing things. There's no one route to success, and there's no one way of producing food, I guess. But we can try and promote what we believe are people showing the way to others.
I was just going to say, could Manu speak about, because I know you mentioned also that you decided to use your Instagram following to promote the producers around you.
I think when something come up to me, and then I have a voice and I have an Instagram, and how about I'm using that to inspire people, not to put in dishes, of course sometimes I put dishes, but to inspire people to change, to do something, to change the kids, to change how they believe, how they can reconnect again with food. And I think people and the chefs we're talking about need to reconnect again. We need to understand how the system works. We need to understand the climate change. We need to understand before we are doing something. Like, okay, I'm going to do a dish for strawberry it's not the season. But I need that. always we come to, I want this, I want to know where my food comes from, I want, and what are you doing for you want so much? And we need to ask ourselves, not to want, do something, you know? If you want, you go grab it. So you change, you education people, you have to inform people. So you buy food from this producer, but you don't know what they are eating in their home, you know? You don't know what is important to them. Maybe you want the best strawberry, but your producer know what's the best strawberry? Did you ask someone, you know? So you have to teach, you have to, you know, inform them. And I think this is really important for the future, not just about ourselves. We need to think about the whole thing, the whole problem.
Wave if you'd like to ask a question.
In the last month, I noticed kind of a change in society, like it's coming, that we have to change our lifestyle. All it's coming from the middle of society. Do you think like this too, like Fridays for Future, and everybody is posting like this? Do you think it's coming from the middle of society? It's important change right now, or it's not enough, or
I hope. I hope it's a very long way because everything is polluted with the society who we build until now. The kind of consumption who we make. A restaurant first is a big polluter in the tons of plastic who we use in the restaurant is amazing, and it's not possible to continue to work like this. It's a big change in all our society. It's not possible 1% of the richness is in the whole is in 1% of the population. It's not possible. So it's not just in the kitchen. It's
but do you notice
everywhere.
that there's a change in society?
I hope we try to change as ourselves. I think the most important is to first of all to be to try to change ourselves and to try to change the mentality of the group of we touch of our team, and then to try to pass to learn but it's a long way for me.
I was just going to say that I'm a believer that ideas come from up high and that they tend to bleed into the culture. We like to think of movements as bottom up, and of course they are in some respects, but they catch fire. The environmental movement, women's in America, all the great movements in the United States anyway, started from elites, with this idea that coalesced around elites. It was taken up from down under, but it started with up top. And today, there's an opportunity for restaurants with the amount of chefs that are in the kitchen and the amount of broadcasting power that we all of a sudden have to spread a message that is far-reaching. And in America, anyway, food trends are very nimble. They catch on quickly. It's one of the things about American food culture. We have no food culture, but because of that, we adopt ideas so quickly. You know, Greek yogurt, kale, sushi, everything that came from high-end restaurants. Now, the Impossible Burger, the idea that someone in the Midwestern United States would be eating a vegetable for a main course is preposterous. But actually, with chefs who were talking about that 15 years ago. And this is the way it's come down into the everyday food culture. So it's not perfect, but it is interesting to imagine that a restaurant like ours can have the broadcasting potential to change the culture around food in a very positive way. Is it happening fast enough? Probably not.
Okay, so I feel super uncomfortable bringing this up because I'm a person of color and a woman. I'm American, if that makes a difference. But Chef Mauro, you and I were at a table discussion a few months back, and we were listening to French chefs telling me that I don't understand haute cuisine because I'm not French. And I come here today, and then the chefs are saying that women don't belong in the kitchen. And I really admire you because you're a foreigner here with a 3-star Michelin restaurant, and your family is always at your restaurant. Julia's running the kitchen, you have your kids there. Can you say something to that?
No,
I think I should just jump in and say that I don't think that's a fair reflection of what
No,
he said.
I just want.
I don't think. I don't think he was saying that women don't have a place in the kitchen. I'm not defending him personally, but I think we need to be careful about that. Taking.
He
that
did
as the
definitely
only
did
thing.
say that. He did say that. I'm not saying that was the only thing, but he did say that.
no, I think it's for during a lot of time, like in others industry, the woman was not in the accepted. Today, this changing is started a few years ago, and I think and I hope more and more women wants to work in a kitchen. You know? In my case, we didn't make any difference between sex. So for me, it's something normal. For me, it's something who I want to have time to be in my home with growing my child. Julie as well. We want to express ourselves in our work. It's a balance, and it's not a war. It's really you need to work together, hand in hand, and to make a better society for the humans, not for the woman or man. No, it's for me. I not feel a difference, and I give the opportunity at all kind of people in my restaurant to become chef of Mirasur. Is just a talent or in Mirasur of 5 of the head chef, 2 was women.
So I see you as a bridge between old French and new French, and you are definitely helping younger French get noticed, younger French chefs. So, like as Chef Dan said, it starts from the top and it trickles down. And so we hear these things about how if you're not French, you don't understand haute cuisine, and sentiments like this.
That is, I think, is terribly wrong, but.
Yeah, so I was shocked because you were at the table and you are clearly not French. So I'm asking now, what do chefs in France have to do to keep haute cuisine going and to open it up to other people?
I think it was part of all the talks today. The things, the world change. The cuisine is opportunity to open minds. You bring emotions with the cuisine, or I hope to bring to give emotions with my cuisine. And it's impossible to me to put a nationality in this emotion, in love or in any emotion. So I think the new generation of French cuisine is much more open. We saw people of everywhere to come in France and make French cuisine. If you think about when I arrived in France 20 years ago, and now it's a huge change.
Great.
Dan, can I ask you a question about the theme of today was Beyond Frontiers, and Mauro very eloquently talked about cuisine crossing borders. In your country, with the political situation as it is, do you have a comment on how you believe the food world and restaurants and chefs can help promote that cross-cultural and crossing borders through food?
Well, I think restaurants are the great examples of democracy, both in the workplace, though I hear what you are saying, and there are some great disparities and unfortunate comments, but in most of the kitchens in the U.S. now, they really are moving in the right direction. And in terms of the cultural implications of what we do, there is no Trumps in the food world. Our president does not represent the current state of our food culture in the United States and or the future. So yes, it's a very happy circumstance in that respect. And I will just remind you that you're asking a question about Trump and his policies. Let's also remember that Trump for dinner every night has a steak well done with a Diet Cola. Every night. Now, that is not a man who believes in the benefits of good food or the pleasures of good cooking or international cuisine or anything. He's a very close-minded person. And I imagine he's both not a good eater and not a good chef. So I want everyone in the international scene to know that in the world of food, Trump is as unpopular as he is in most of the country. And the world.
While we're touching on a little bit of politics, and Manu, with the situation in the Amazon at the moment, how do you feel about this, and what do you think the world can do to address the situation in Brazil?
It's a really hard question, but let's do it. Well, this year the devastation was really big, but this happened every year because the weather. So the problem is not today. This year was unbelievable. I have my father is from there, from Rondônia. It's making me cry. This year was become really bad, but not just because food, but because we need to change. This happened because this farmer want to put more cows and have more meat. Because if that happened, it's because we are eating. We are eating more beef. So 1 kilo of beef consumes 18,000 liters of water. And we need to change. People need to eat more vegetables. Like in Brazil, the law in Brazil, if you have a company, the law in Brazil, you have to give for your employer meat every day in the law. If I have a restaurant, I have to have meat for all my employees every day. It's unbelievable. People need to eat to understand how important it is to have one meal in the week as vegetarian. So this it's not just about Brazil, but it's about Argentina, it's about Bolivia, it's about everywhere. So we have the power to tell people, to inform people, to education these people. In Brazil, 5% of the population make more than $1,000 per month. So just 5% are the middle class. And the other 95%, they think it's really good to eat meat, to have frozen lasagna, to have the meat, the fish frozen and fry the fish. They think this is fancy, this is good. So we need to inform these people, to education these people, and then we can stop. So the fire is a huge problem, but we have a huge problem before the fire. So that's my opinion about this.
Thank you.
How do you manage informing these people when Nestle is going to the favelas and giving them products?
But the problem is not the price. Totally not. The problem is the system of product food we build is not the good. Imagine the thirds of the production of the world go to the garbage. So
my question was how to inform these people, this 95%.
is everybody you can do.
Yeah,
And of course, the governments, and we need to push the governments to make laws for the people and not for the industry. That is it's a hard work, but we can do it. Pressure, we can. It's like it's not easy, but we need to fight for.
Maybe I was asking myself 8 years ago, 7 years ago, and then I started to go in the schools, like poor schools, and in the city, and ask, do you want to come here and teach the kids? Do you want to come here and teach the kids? So, and then I asked myself, oh, I need to teach my school kids, my kids. So I'm twice in a year. I go to my private school, and then I go to the municipal school, the government school, just talking, talking with the kids, make them understand. Like how it's like, do you know how many sugar come in a packet with like a cookie? If you show that to the parents, and it's like 300 grams of sugar. So you put 300 grams and make like this. So these you are giving to your kids. So these people have to see it, They don't understand like what is 18,000 liters of water. What is that? So if you put in amounts and how is that? So it's gonna be shock. So we need to shock people. We need to shock and make they understand and how they can change the food. Like in our urban gardens, the people are really, really poor. But they are so happy because now they understand they are producing their food. So they come to me and say, hey Manu, come here. You see, I have purple carrots. I'm not even having the supermarket, like fancy supermarket. They have in the garden. And they are happy, And we teach them how to make like, I was telling them other day how to do a feijoada with vegetables. Because feijoada you have to have meat and sausage and everything. And then we did like a white feijoadas with carrots and beets and everything. And so they were like, wow, this is amazing, So it just teaches just a little bit, just something you do and you can change.